Welcome to Raised in Alaska. Today we're going to review this Zleo CTC010 cellular solar game camera. And I've had this camera out in the field for about a month now. And during that month it's seen more than its fair share of rain, wind, and awesome moose. Let's get into it right now.
It comes with lots of different pieces, so let's look at the pieces real quick. So first it comes with a pretty good instruction manual. It comes with a belt. It has its own little screwdriver, which is kind of cool. Mounting hardware, more mounting hardware, a big long screw of a thing that we'll take a look at in a bit here. It has a mount that I suspect this is for. And so this would be if you're going to mount the camera to a flat surface. The cool thing about the camera though is that it has its own 1/4 by 20 threaded mount here and also here. So you got two different ways that you can mount it to a tree, which I think is fantastic. Sometimes you want one versus the other, so it's nice when it has both. It also then has a place that you can put the strap through here, cable through here, and cable through here. One of the things I really like about the cable through here is that locks it so that everything can be locked up in here. I have gotten some cameras that you can't even lock it, which I think is not a good plan. Then it also comes with a mount here that we'll have to look at, and a pretty nice solar panel that seems kind of heavy. It's got its own mounting hardware in the back, so you could either mount this, I suspect, on the top of the camera, or you could mount it over by itself. I'll end up mounting it by itself so that you can put the solar panel on the sunny side of the tree and the camera hopefully on the shady side, because you get better pictures that way. So some cool factoids about this camera. This camera is a 4G cellular camera.
From the field, one of the things I really appreciate about this camera is it doesn't take any alkaline batteries. Instead, it has a lithium battery in it, which is charged from the solar panel. And so you can take it out, put it out there, and it will always be charged as long as you have the solar panel pointed toward the sun.
So the nice thing is you don't have to worry about buying alkaline batteries or changing them in the middle of the season and making a run out to your camera so you can hurry up and change the battery. So I think that's really nice. So as a cellular camera, you'll be able to download videos and pictures directly on your phone, which I think is a super cool feature. So between the cellular portion of the camera itself and then also the solar function of it, you could take this out, put it in the back of nowhere, as long as you have reception, and never have to tend to it and just see what's going on, and so you don't have to make treks back out there, which is super nice. One of the other interesting features about this is it has a live streaming feature, so you can just be live streaming from there. And so we'll see if we can do some of that, but to do that I'd really want to know that there was something added, otherwise you'd just be live streaming nothingness. And so we'll have to put on notifications, and then we'll be able to live stream what's happening out there, which will be real cool. Maybe we'll even live stream when I'm setting it up. And so it has a Sony IMX335 sensor in it, which is supposed to be really good. It has infrared lights that are good to about 49 feet. The motion sensor senses at about 70 degrees, so it's relatively narrow. And the nice thing about that is if you put it in a cove with trees around it, it won't be picking up the peripherals, and it'll only get things that are pretty much in front of it, and so you won't have as many false triggers, which is always nice. And so it has an operating temperature range of 14 degrees Fahrenheit to 122 degrees Fahrenheit. And so, wow, it'd probably be really good in the desert. And even in Alaska, down to 14. In the winter it'll get colder than that, but in the fall most certainly we're going to be in that range. It has a weather rating of 6.6, which really means that if you don't submerge it, you're going to be fine. It can be out in the wind, the rain, the snow, anything. And the weight is about 0.88 pounds, it says, so less than a pound. I would say it's not too heavy. One of the nice things I think is this is a relatively small camera. I've been waiting for them. I mean, I think as we move forward in game cameras, they're just going to get smaller and smaller, and this is a step in the right direction for certain. Face the QR code to the camera.
QR code scan successful.
All right, there we go. Okay, so we are successfully connected to it, which is nice. And you can see here, motion recordings. We can play back, we can do the cloud SIM card management. What I want to be able to do here is I want to format the card that's in it. So let's see if we can do that real quick. Alarm siren is always scary. That means if something moves in front of it, an alarm goes off, and for wildlife, we certainly don't want that. We're going to allow access to all of my camera videos, and let's go to here. Device name, firmware, cloud. It's got 33% battery. It's going to mark the time. Indicator, advanced settings. We're going to keep going down. We'll come back to SD card management. I'm going to format that card. Anytime you put a card in a camera or first start with the camera, you want to format the card. Motion settings. Let's see what's happening there. I don't want it on loop recording because that means it'll record over your videos. Medium sensitivity. I'm going to go to high if I can. There we go. PR sensitivity. Medium, I'm going to leave it there. Let's go back to advanced settings and see what's in there. Oh, that's the bottom half of it. Okay. So I'm going to take this out in the field and get it set up, get the solar panel put on it. I'll bet you that the solar panel brings the charge in the battery up to 100%. And so it does have, even though it's super small, it has an internal lithium battery that the solar panel will charge. So I'm setting this game camera up. It overlooks the intersection of two trails, and it's a trail along a meadow. I want to get this camera pointed just right, so I'm using the live streaming function to do this. Now the camera isn't really positioned exactly how I want it. You can see I have a lot of skyline there. I'd rather have it pointed a little bit further down. Like that. That's much better. Nothing's going to fly across the top that I need to see. I'd rather see them close in. Okay, so we got it up. Let's take a look at it here real quick. It's up there. Look at this. We got a bowl out there. Got a trail that comes along here. Goes along here. There's a trail that comes in right through there as well. There's our camera with the red light on. So this is a cellular camera basically designed for surveillance. That said, I think the video quality is good. That's a dandy bull. There are nice colors here. Really good sound. Cute little guy here. I would say this video is just a little bit on the grainy side. But again, if you're looking at this for surveillance, this is fantastic. I will say of all of the
cellular cameras that I've used, this one was my favorite. I would get up first thing in the morning and couldn't wait to see what had happened. And this is always the first camera I would go to, partially just because it was so easy to use. This is decent nighttime video. Remember, I have it part way up in a tree, so the illumination from the camera isn't going to go that far. And this is really just leaves blowing around here. I just thought it looked cool. Dandy bull, he broke one antler off. Clearly a battler. Good color in this one. And again, very good sound, nice color, good video. And this is quite a little storm here. A couple calves come through and a bull's chasing them. And there's a dandy bull there. And again, just horrible weather. This camera really put up with some fantastic weather and held up really well. You can see its breath coming up here on the camera. I thought that was really interesting. But this is good nighttime video. There's that bull with the broken antler again. And good video here. This is a small little bull over there. Great surveillance tool. I loved watching these videos first thing in the morning when I was having coffee. It was really kind of the highlight of my day. And look at this bull. What a beautiful bull. Nice colors here. I can say when I looked at this video, I was really, really impressed with the quality, but also with this bull. Dandy bull, great fronts on him. One of the things that I've really liked about this camera is the intuitiveness and the ease of use of the app for it. With this, I can log into this in live right now, and it's live looking at me. Or I can look in events and I can pick a day. Well, let's see. Pick a day here and it goes through and shows me what happened on that day. Nothing exciting there. I don't see anything just off the top of my head. I'm looking for something that's obvious here. There's one. Nice bowl. So I can, from the comfort of my home, first thing in the morning when I'm having coffee, log in here, see what was happening at my spot and go, hey, I want to go there. One of the things I really appreciate about this camera is the ease of the use of the app for it. And so I think that's a huge plus. So I want to make a quick correction from the beginning of this video. The studs in here that you mount to in this camera here, this particular one, is a M6.1, which is a metric unit, as opposed to the 1/4 inch by 20, which you find in most cameras. I did reach out to the manufacturer and they said that this one's a prototype and that they have since then contacted the manufacturer of the shell of the camera and requested they go to 1/4 inch by 20. For me it was like, well, that's a bummer, but I just used the strapped it to a tree. But better than that, I created my own camera mount, and so this is M6 by 1.0 metric. And we'll take a look at it in just a second. So it screws into here. And so then I can use this as a camera mount. And so I've made lots and lots of these camera mounts, especially this year, and it's pretty easy. There's a star handle, and I've seen people make these where they have bolts and stuff like that, but when I go in the field, I want to just be able to do it all by hand and have it easy and not have to take any tools. So it's a little 3/8 inch handle. I have a 3/8 inch. This is called a elevator bolt. And then I have a lag screw on there. I put a rubber washer on there. I put what threads into whatever camera. Generally I've been using 1/4x20, but for this one, of course, I use the M6x1. And then I can screw this on there. Screw this into a tree, put my camera on there, and then I can bend this until I get it where I want. And then just tighten that down. And that rubber washer then seals them, so then it holds it tight. And so that was an easy fix in the event that, you know, you get a camera at some point in time that's not 1/4 inch by 20. So thanks for coming along today and exploring this camera with me. It seems like each camera, each season, and each location comes with its own challenges. The biggest challenge for this camera was the weather. I had this in the field for nearly a month, and during that time we got several inches of rain and windstorms to beat windstorms, 50-mile-an-hour winds, and this camera held up without fail. It never internally fogged, never fogged. I have some video of horrible storms going on, but by and large the camera sensors didn't pick up anything but animals. I didn't have a lot of false triggers in it, and so I appreciate that about the camera. But I do have some where leaves are falling in front of it, or there's actual motion happening where it picked that up, and some where the driving rain is coming in sideways and triggered the camera, but not a whole lot of them. But this thing really went through the weather test. So when we say it's weatherproof, this camera really upheld to really fantastic weather. The other thing that's worth mentioning in there with the weather is, with all that poor weather and rain and wind, we had lots and lots of clouds for almost the whole time it was cloudy. There might have been 2 sunny days in 3 weeks. And the solar panel, once I put this initially out in the field with about 37% charge on it, and that day it went up to 100% charge, and it remained at 100% charge nearly the entire time. Even in the evenings when it was using the IR lights and taking nighttime video, it didn't go down much, and the next day it popped right back up to 100%. So really good solar panel, and it charged the camera really well. So I'm super happy about that. And you know, with that being said, one of the cool things about this camera, you can put it way out in the middle of nowhere, put the solar panel up, and it's going to charge itself. You never have to go out to the camera. You never have to mess with that. It could be a 10-mile hike in where you don't want to go again. In the morning, you can get up, look on your app, and say, oh, look what was there. You don't have to go pull the card. I thought that that was really a nice feature about it. The other nice thing that comes from that then is, I like pulling cards and cameras, by the way, but every time you go and pull a card from your camera, you're leaving human scent at that site. You're touching the camera, your footprints going in, and you're disturbing just your physical presence of being around there is disturbing the animals. And so to be able to put something out there, surveil what's going on, and never have to go out and touch it, I think is a huge benefit. One of the things I always try to do in my game camera videos is give you enough information so that you can make up your own mind. I'm not going to tell you, you should buy this camera or that camera, or buy this product or that product. But what I will do is I'll give you enough information and enough demonstrations of it that you can make up your own mind. And so I hope through the course of this video that I've given you enough demonstrations of the camera so you can see, you know, is this my camera? And that I've given you enough information so you can say, yeah, that's exactly what I was looking for. Different cameras and different products have different niches. I would say that the little niche for this that it really fits in well is if you have a place that you want to surveil but don't want to have to visit. If you have a place that's far away you can't get to. If you have a place you want to leave human scent in. Putting in a cellular camera in there is a really good idea. Go in there, monitor it, no big deal. That's the pros, I think, of a cellular camera. If you want to be able to put a camera out somewhere and just surveil that area and see what's going on, then if you have to go out there all the time and pull the card and leave human scent, you're disrupting that area. And so I think each one has its own niche, if you will. The cellular camera that's solar powered makes it so you can set it out there and never visit it. Huge, huge plus there. And I would say for this camera in particular then, it's got a really nice hard shell. It upheld pretty extreme weather over the course of that 3 weeks. I'll put it back out and we'll have another test on it later on. But through the course of this, it doesn't get much rainier than what we've had, and this thing upheld really, really well. So again, I'm not going to tell you that this is the camera you have to buy. This is the only camera. But I will end this with kind of my final thoughts about this camera. Again, it upstood the weather really well. It was easy to use. It's small, which I like. I have some cameras that are bigger, and bigger isn't so bad, but if you're having to try to hide it from people or sometimes even animals, small is nice. The other thing that's nice about being small is you can fit a few of them in your backpack. It doesn't weigh much if you're going to have to go far. So I thought that was a huge benefit. I like how the antenna screws on this way, and then it's got a little rubber thing that goes over it that seals really, really well. When you open it up, it's just got a small little door here. It's got a gasket that goes around here. It goes on and off easy. One thing that I like on cameras, to be honest with you, is I like to have a screen so I can see what's going on. But instead of a screen with this camera, what I used was I just used this live feature. I put it up, went into it with my phone, and I went, oh, that's not exactly where I want it aimed. I'm going to move it a little bit, and you can aim where it was. And so if it has that functionality and you have connectivity to it, you don't really need the screen on there. You can program this thing all from your phone, which is really, really nice. And so I found it to be a very easy to use camera. I would even go so far as to say, intuitively speaking, it was super easy to use. And so in the end, I really like this camera. Thanks for coming along today, and I wish you the best of luck in the field.